When we think about our children in the online space, we think about how we equip our kids to ride a bike. You don't buy your child a bike and then say to them, here's a bike, go and enjoy the highways, go knock yourselves out. We make sure that they're well equipped. We buy them helmets and all the right safety gear. We make sure that the bike is in good working order. We make sure that we teach them the rules of the road, and we make sure that we put them on roads that are age appropriate for them to be riding on. We make sure that the way that we set them up is for success. And the same is true for our kids being online. We want to make sure that the way that we set them up equips them for success. And so one of the things that we need to be doing as parents is engaging with each other, engaging with our kids, but also engaging with people who do this for a living, the experts in different fields who can help us tap into what we need to know to make sure that our kids are safe online. And so we've got a couple of fantastic panelists with us here tonight. So let me introduce them to you now. We've got Arinda Truter, who's joining us from DML, which is a law firm in Cape Town. And Arinda's speciality is ICT law, which is all about how social media and the law intersect. And so she's going to be sharing a little bit more around that with us this evening. Hello, Arinda. Thanks for joining us.
Everyone. Thank you for having me. Very excited.
Fantastic. And then we've got Rochelle Best. Rochelle is the founder of an app called FYI Play It Safe. This is a really interesting app. We're really excited about what FYI Play It Safe are doing. It's not a straight parental control app. This is a much more thoughtful app that's designed to initiate conversations between you and your child and equip you as the parent with the information that you need to be able to have informed conversations with your child. And so, Rochelle, thank you so much for joining us tonight as well.
Thanks, Mark. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to talk to you and everyone on the call.
Absolutely. Well, ladies and gents, we do have a Q&A section as well. So if you have a look on your Zoom panel down near the bottom, you'll be able to interact with us on the Q&A. So go ahead and open that up whenever you'd like to, and you'll see there that you can type in the Q&A. You'll also be able to see each other's questions. And so as you're listening to the different panelists talking and sharing their ideas, feel free to pop your questions on there and feel free to read each other's questions. And there's actually the opportunity for you to upvote questions. So if you see a question and you think, aha, that's the question I wanted to ask, you can just upvote it. And the ones that get more votes will move up the list and we'll be able to handle those first. Obviously, we might not have time to get to all the questions tonight. So go ahead and throw them in there. Please feel free to put down all of the things that pop into your mind. And we'll make sure that at some stage, even if it's not during the webinar tonight, we'll make sure that we handle all of your questions and we'll pass them on to whichever panelist we feel like it's most relevant for. We'll compile a bit of a list of answers for you and we'll send that out to everybody who registered for the webinar tonight. Okay, well, let's get started with a bit of a poll. This is an opportunity for us to interact with you. And so we're going to release a poll now. And this first poll is a very straightforward one. It's all about what type of schooling does your family currently use? Okay, so you'll see it pop up on your screen in just a moment. Why don't you go ahead and indicate on that poll, what type of schooling does your family currently use? And the options are physical school, online school, homeschool, or other. You can go ahead and just choose the one that's most relevant for you. If you feel like you fall into more than one, just pick the one that you think resonates with you the most. Physical school, obviously your traditional brick and mortar school. Online schools are growing fast in South Africa. One of the things we're really excited about as an online school ourselves is that parents have more choice than ever before when it comes to how to school their children, and then homeschooling. All right, it looks like most of those are in. So I'm going to go ahead and release that. And here come the results. There we go. Okay, so as we can see, we've got the majority joining us tonight from online schools. I suppose this is a topic that's particularly relevant to parents of online schoolers. I know that as a principal of an online school, we have parents ask us all the time, does putting my child into an online school put them more at risk? Does me joining an online school mean that my child is more at risk when it comes to the sorts of interactions in the online space, which I don't want them having? And so it's good to see so many online schooling parents joining us tonight. And then we've got a good mix as well of physical school and homeschool. And just to say, no matter what type of schooling system you're involved in at the moment, this is a relevant topic for all of us to be engaging with, because it is undeniable that our kids are going to be interacting with the online space, interacting with others in the online space. McKinsey Global Institute released a study recently saying that by the end of this decade, more than half the jobs that exist on the planet are either going to be automated or online. And that's quite a remarkable thought, that no matter what your child's particular passions or interests or leanings, no matter where they end up one day in a career, chances are good they're going to be engaging somehow in the online space, whether they're an artist or an engineer. And so we really see this as valuable conversations for us all to be engaging with. So let me kick off with a little bit of information about Koa Academy and how we fit into this. So Koa Academy, as I mentioned a moment ago, is an online school. We're based in South Africa, but we serve families across Southern Africa. Currently, we're operating grades 4 to 9, and next year we're opening up grades 10 and 11 for enrollment, with our first matrics writing in 2023, which we're very excited about. And this is an awesome time to be involved in an online school. One of the things that we're most excited about is being able to set up an online school in a way that makes sense to the online space. We're very conscious that we don't want to just take all of the systems and structures that exist in a physical traditional school and just dump them on a screen. We don't want to do school on a screen. We want to do online schooling, which is different. And the way that we've set that up really has safety at the front. So we want to make sure that not only are we setting up the online school in a way that provides a safe environment for children to be, but we actually want them engaging in online activities in a way that resemble real life. And this is the key for us. We want everything that they do in the online space during their school day to feel as much like real life as possible, so that when they are released into the wilds of real life, it's not a surprise to them. They've experienced this before. They know how to engage with other people. They know how to work productively in the online space. And so I'd like to share with you just a few things that we do to make sure that this experience is realized for the kids who attend Koa Academy. And the two words that sum this up the best are accountability and engagement. Everything that we've done in terms of, let's call it the Koa Academy ecosystem, the online ecosystem, that the children who attend Koa Academy, everything that they engage with in this ecosystem boils down to high accountability and high engagement. And we feel like this creates a really healthy online space for children not to just be safe, but to thrive and learn skills which are going to set them up for future success. And so here are a few things, a few talking points for us. Firstly, the pods of 8. This is like the secret sauce of Koa Academy. We believe that high engagement and high accountability happens in small groups. And so we don't force 20, 30, 40 children into an online virtual classroom. We keep things really personalized, individualized, focused attention, groups of 8. So up to only 8 children meet every day with each other and with their teacher in a high touch environment. And we've really seen healthy relationships forming and high accountability between not only the children between each other, but also with their teacher. And that's socio-emotionally as well as academically. So that's really at the heart of who we are and how we work in the online space. We also have a managed workspace. We use Google Workspace as our central platform, our holding platform for all the work and the way that the children engage with everything. That's because Google Workspace, particularly the For Education edition that we leverage, we can set that up in a way that really prioritizes safety features on the admin side of things. So the children aren't even aware that the way that their platforms are set up from the Google Workspace side is very thoughtfully designed with the child's security in terms of their information and who they can engage with during the day. And that's managed externally. We actually have a company which we have hired to audit us continually on that, to make sure that we are accountable to somebody else for the way that we're managing the children's online working space. Digital literacy is a big theme for us. We teach this to the children. We also teach it to our teachers. Our teachers are undergoing constant professional development around digital literacy, what's happening in the digital space and how to be well equipped to teach there. And obviously there are skilled professional teachers who are qualified and experienced and really passionate about leading children into future careers in the online space. We also have engaging platforms. The platforms that we handpick for our children to work on are not your rote lecture to the screen, kind of like this webinar sense of lecturing to the screen, and children lose engagement and end up on other platforms. They're actually platforms which are designed to capture the engagement of the child. And finally, we have live learner dashboards, which give you as the parents daily update progress reports. And this is just a quick glimpse at what the dashboards might look like. Here are a few screenshots of a dashboard for a child named Beth, who's not a real child. This is obviously a made up profile, but here's an example of what a profile looks like. And Beth can access this, as well as her parents, as well as her teacher, and it's live every day with an up-to-date view of what she's working on, her progress. And this really, again, feeds back to the idea of accountability and engagement in the online space. But that's just a quick look at Koa Academy. But the real point of tonight is not just to talk about Koa Academy, it's to equip you as parents with even more helpful tools, helpful talking points, information that might help guide how you coach your children and steer your children into being responsible digital citizens. And so we're going to get into the heart of it now. We're going to go across to Arinda, who's going to be speaking to us for a few minutes about social media and the law. And she comes with a lot of experience. And as a school, we've been engaging with her and are really excited about what she has to offer. So Arinda, over to you.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to chat to you about this very important topic, and something not only you each deal with on a daily basis, but something your children deal with on a daily basis. Obviously, I'm talking about social media and the internet, the good, the bad, and the nasty, as we like to say to the children. Social media and the internet has become such an integral part of our lives. We all use it daily, but unfortunately, we also all abuse it. My section is going to focus more on the law side of things. We deal with legal consequences from social media use quite often. So it's probably going to be a little bit scary, but what we need to remember is that everything you do and say on the internet stays there forever. It basically becomes your digital footprint, gives you an idea of your identity, your hobbies, your skills, your interests, basically who you are as a person. What we try to teach you, though, is to, instead of being scared of all the bad things that can and obviously do happen on the internet, we rather want you to be proactive in creating your own positive digital footprint. Because the internet is so integral in our lives, you are responsible for everything you post online, and everything you post becomes a reflection of you. And this is the understanding we try to create. It becomes a reflection not only of you, but your friends, your family, your school, and for you, also your job. And unfortunately, we don't have a choice as to whether or not we use your devices. We just have to know how to use it properly and what the risks and consequences are. And what we need to realize is that social media is still real life. You're never anonymous, and there are real life consequences to social media. You're not just sitting behind a screen, typing away, and no one knows. There are actual real life consequences. We found this quote that we think is very, very apt in this situation. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, but what happens on social media stays on Google forever. And that's the idea I want you to keep in your mind as we go through this short presentation. So let's start with social media applications. Everyone uses it. Most of your kids use apps every day. It's TikTok, it's Instagram, it's Snapchat, it's WhatsApp. The age restrictions for most of these applications are either 12 or 13. So technically, if your child doesn't have your consent, they are not allowed to use the application. When you download these apps and you have to hit that little agree button to use it, do you understand what exactly you are agreeing to? We ask this question when we speak to children at schools, and we get very interesting answers. But for most apps, you agree to let them use any of your content that you post or share to the app, any pictures, or ever without your permission and without having to pay you. They can also share or sell this content to whoever they want. And this is for most applications. I know that there was that whole issue with WhatsApp last year where they changed their T's and C's, but in actual fact, all of the social media applications have the same type of T's and C's. And what this means is that anything you post on Facebook, Instagram, even if it's a direct message or a private WhatsApp to your friend, it can be used by the application however they want. And most apps also have access to your address book on a regular basis and all of your status updates as well as your location. Something that we need to talk to you about while we are talking about apps, which is not really an app, but it falls in the same category, is online gaming. It's very popular. It's become even more popular during the whole COVID situation where we were all stuck in our houses. But unfortunately, there are technological and social risks of online gaming. And this includes the risk from social interaction with strangers, being tricked into revealing personal or financial information, computer intruders, online real-world predators, and of course, viruses and things like worms and spyware. The important thing is that a recent study shows that 65% of people who participate in online gaming say that they've been harassed or bullied while playing a game. And this is quite a scary statistic for underage gamers. The risk of children falling victim to online predators is also really high. Because online gaming gives predators the opportunity to build a sort of shared online experience with your child, basically becoming their defender, their teammate, and their friend in this game. So children are often very naive and give their personal details to these strangers in the online games. And of course, a parent's first instinct will be to completely prevent your child from participating in online gaming. But this may just lead to them doing it behind your back. So an alternative route to follow might be to talk to your child, prepare them for the risks of online gaming and the types of negative behavior they might experience online. It's also important to explain to them the immense impact that cyberbullying can have on others, and to make sure they know that they can come to you if they are experiencing any harassment or bullying on online gaming specifically. If we talk about the real life legal consequences of social media usage and the internet usage, we are talking about defamation, we are talking about hate speech, cyberbullying, harassment, and sexting. Obviously, there are more things like this, criminal injuria, which is a criminal action under our law. These are the types of things that go wrong on social media. We see it very often. These are the types of things that people come to attorneys for when things have really gone wrong. And all of these you would recognize, and all of them have serious legal and real life consequences. Why I say this is because under South African law, you have full legal capacity to be tried as a criminal at the age of 14. So this means your child can be arrested and tried in a court of law exactly as an adult from the age of 14. And that's very, very, very important to realize for actions that happen on social media that they might not realize at the time can have these serious legal consequences. Between the ages of 10 and 14, children are presumed to not have criminal capacity, but if it can be shown that they had the ability to know right from wrong, they would still be considered to have full criminal capacity. Under the age of 10, they are deemed to not have criminal capacity, but there will still be legal consequences for their actions. And unfortunately, these consequences will in all likelihood fall on the shoulders of you as the parents. Separate to criminal, we also have civil actions, and you or your children can get sued for actions like defamation or infringement of privacy, or if your children commit cyberbullying, harassment, sexting on social media. So it's very important that we understand when we talk about social media and the internet, it's not something that's floating in the air and doesn't have any consequences. There's actual serious real life consequences for this. If I can just mention a few examples that I'm pretty sure you all recognize. Adam Cancevelos, the guy who posted in a WhatsApp group the video and he said the racial slur. His video went viral on social media. Someone shared it. A complaint has been lodged against him at the Human Rights Commission. He's facing criminal injuria charges in court and a 200,000 rand fine. Further than this, we all saw on social media how his whole life was dragged into this. His family business was boycotted. They dragged his wife's job into it, posted pictures of his children. And that's why I say social media usage becomes a reflection of you, but also your family, your job, your extended circle. Another example that I'm pretty sure you all already know, Penny Sparrow. She decided to post on Facebook a rant calling Black people monkeys littering a beach. She was really the first criminal case that we have an example of for hate speech on social media. She was fired from her job, and she also received a fine of 150,000 Rand. I don't know if any of you feel like paying 150,000 Rand for something that happened on social media. I definitely do not. Then we have an example, case law, LaRue versus Day. In this case, two schoolboys decided to take a picture of two bodybuilders, Photoshop their principal and their deputy principal's faces over it, put the school logo over their private parts, shared this on social media, and they thought it was a big joke. They apologized. The principal was happy, but the deputy principal took them to court for defamation, and they were ordered to pay him a fine of 25,000 Rand, which obviously the parents at the end of the day paid for that. We also have this example of a girl at Pietermaritzburg High School. She went on a racist rant over a voice note on WhatsApp where she was going on about a Black person that couldn't spell her name properly. This went viral on social media, and the school suspended her at the end of the day. Very important to remember when we are talking about WhatsApp groups or even Facebook groups, if you are the admin of a WhatsApp group, you are responsible for all the content that is posted to that group. And if you're a member of the group and you do not specifically state that you dissociate yourself with comments made, you will also be held liable, even if you didn't create the content in the first place. This is why it's very important that as an admin, you should consistently monitor the content uploaded. If you just think about some of the comments that we see in our local neighborhood watch groups on a daily basis, the serious legal consequences for that. And you don't want to be held liable for something someone else has said. Something that we also need to mention just quickly is that the president has finally signed into law the Cybercrimes Act, which criminalizes certain actions specifically impacting social media usage, like sending messages that incites damage to property or violence or threatens damage to property or violence. And it includes the disclosure of messages which unlawfully contain an intimate image without the person's consent. So any person who contravenes the Cybercrimes Act will be liable for either a fine or imprisonment for a period not exceeding 3 years, or both. So again, serious consequences, and this is now properly in an act. So what can the school do if we are talking about school? And this includes online school. A school can, if your child breaches their code of conduct or their social media policy, does something on social media that is against the school code of conduct, the school can expel you, your child, or take other disciplinary action if he or she sends inappropriate content on social media. It also doesn't matter if it's during school hours or on the weekend, or if the school finds out about it randomly afterwards. If it violates the school code of conduct, they can take action. Because the school's code of conduct is seen as a contract between you and the school, and it applies to your child's online behavior as well. The same goes for if the content exists on social media showing your child breaking a school rule. It does not matter if you're breaking the rule in your own home or on a Saturday night. It also doesn't matter if you posted it or someone else. If it's online and it's against the school code of conduct, the school can take action against your child. Something that's very important in our law is the chain of publication. This basically means that the person who shares content is as liable as the creator of the content. What this means is that every person who likes, shares, or reposts content on social media is treated exactly the same as the person who created or first posted it. So not now are you responsible for what you do and say online, but also for what other people say and do, because you shared it or you associated yourself with it. So we need to be extremely careful of sharing content from other people without saying exactly why you are sharing it. The same goes for tagging. If someone tags you in something and you don't agree with it, immediately untag yourself. Because the moment you are tagged, it looks like you are part of the conversation, you're in agreement, you are associating yourself with it. And this is also why we are always saying it's so important to update your privacy settings on all your applications to make sure you immediately when someone tags you or comments, you get that notification and you can take action on it. Because in our law, you will be held liable the same way as the person who initially created it. This is actually case law that this chain of publication is based on, where a husband was held liable for his wife's post on Facebook, even though he was just tagged. He didn't comment, didn't interact, he was just tagged, and the court held him equally liable. A quick look at the link between privacy and social media law. The right to privacy involves a legitimate expectation of privacy. So the more intimate your information, the more private it is. So information about your health, your finances, salary, criminal history are all inherently private information, so you keep it private. The same applies to social media, but the way we determine this legitimate expectation is a little bit different. It depends on which social media platform your information is posted on and how private your platform is. So the difference between posting something on a public Facebook profile and a private Instagram page, there's obviously a difference of your legitimate expectation of privacy. If you put yourself in a position where you make your private information public, it's harder to fight for your right to privacy. The problem is, the moment it's out there, you can't interdict the whole world from sharing it. Avoiding and managing online risk is extremely important and basically the only way you can safely use the World Wide Web, and the only way we can allow our children to use it safely. We put burglar bars on our windows and alarm systems in our houses. So why do we hand out our addresses, cell phone numbers, locations, IDs to criminals for free on the internet? We need to be extremely careful about what we share on the internet and how we are making our own information public. Screenshots and context, very important for social media and the internet. Everything you say on any platform, even if you think it's a private platform, and a conversation between just you and a friend, it can be screenshotted, shared with the public, and used out of context. Social media, unfortunately, has no context, so you don't have control over the audience you are broadcasting to. Something you say in a private conversation might have a completely different meaning, especially when screenshotted out of context to a wider public. What's funny to you and your friends during a bra on Saturday afternoon will not be funny to your boss on a Monday morning, for example. Social media also lacks tone, and this is also something we talk about to the children often. The fact that something like just kidding or LOL jokes won't save you from the consequences of your actions on social media. You need to think, if you're creating digital content, think, would you like this to be up on the school notice board with your picture and your name next to it for everyone, including the teachers, the principal, your parents, and your friends to see? If not, don't post it. As simple as that. When we talk about photos, we always say, look at it this way. Every photo ever taken of you will eventually be published online. Might not be you publishing it, but it will end up online. And that's something that very serious that we need to consider. You cannot take pictures of someone without their consent. If you do and you post it online, you're infringing on their privacy. This also counts for making video recordings, audio recordings, live videos that the children like making on Instagram and Snapchat. If the person hasn't consented to you posting them online, you cannot do it. Also important for you as the parents is when we talk about parenting. Because the internet is forever, you need to think about whether or not your children would one day want their future boss or the person who looks at their university application to Google their name and see images of them in the bath when they were 5 years old, because parents are posting pictures of their children online. So bear in mind that your children also have the right to privacy and you also need their consent to post about them on social media. Very important, sexting and child pornography. 69.5% of learners in South Africa say they have taken a picture or video of themselves posing in a sexually suggestive way. That's the reality we're living in. The golden rule is sexting between children is illegal and sexting never stays private. This is what we try and get across. Because here are the harsh facts that you need to know. If you're under the age of 18 and you're creating content that is sexually explicit, it's considered child pornography under our law. And now you can already just hearing the word child pornography puts those serious legal consequences in your head. If you're sending the pictures, you're distributing child pornography. If you're asking for nudes, you're soliciting child pornography. Possession of child pornography. It's all serious criminal offenses that your children can go to jail for without considering what they are actually doing. Unfortunately, also, 17% of sexters say that they share the messages they receive with others, and 55% of those people say they share it with more than one person. Very, very scary reality that we need to consider. And this is also important for you as adults sitting here thinking about your actions on social media. Lastly, What can you do? What can you do if someone is harassing you, destroying your reputation, or cyberbullying you online or on social media? The same for your children. We have 4 simple things. I'm not going to go into too much detail. I'm just going to give you an overview of what your legal rights are. You can issue a summons and claim damages if the social media content diminishes your good reputation. You have legal action for damages. And this also includes financial damages and pain and suffering, which is emotional damages. But you have to go through court for this. It's quite a long process. You can also apply for an interdict, urgent interdict, if someone's defaming you and it has immediate serious consequences, or if someone's constantly harassing you on social media, then you can get an interdict against that person. The option that we mostly use, because it's the easiest option, is getting a protection order. You can approach your nearest magistrate's court to apply for a protection order in terms of the Protection Against Harassment Act. Simple process, and the court immediately grants you an interim interdict. Once this order is granted, it's a criminal offense if the person posts about you or defames you again on social media. So there's actions that they can be arrested for contempt of a court order. So that's why we prefer to use that one. The last one is to lay a criminal charge. This is obviously the most drastic step you can take. If the comments made about you amount to hate speech or criminal injuria, which are crimes in our law, or if it is in terms of the Cyber Crimes Act, you can lay a criminal charge against this person. And obviously, if they are found guilty, they can receive either a fine or jail sentence or both. So again, things that we need to consider. This is something that can help you, but this is also something that may happen to you if you don't use this internet and social media in a proper way. So I know this is a very quick overview of the basics of social media law. We can speak about this for hours and hours, but I thought these are the most important points that you as the parents need to know and understand when you're relaying this information to your children and when your children are using social media applications. The important thing that I feel about social media applications is that you as the parents need to use it as well. And you need to know what your children are engaging with. You need to see what they're doing and what they can do with the application. The same with online gaming. Get involved, include them so that they feel it's easier to speak to you about it too. So I really hope this gives all of you a better understanding of some of the risks of social media and the internet, but also how to use it better so that you can avoid these risks and create that positive digital footprint that we talked about earlier. Thank you so much.
Wonderful, Lorinda. Thank you so much. We really appreciate that glimpse into a very complicated and extensive topic. I know that you've taken what is typically a 2-hour introductory workshop and squeezed it into a 15-minute crash course. And I think one of the things that does for us as parents is it reminds us of the complexity of this issue. But it also, for a lot of us, if we're honest, probably stirs up anxiety in terms of how do I navigate this? How do I go about this? And it's great to know that there are people like you who specialize in this, and that when we are in a tight spot and we don't know how to navigate a particular situation, that there are people who are doing this for a living, who are aware of the complexities, who navigate this every day, and we can call on you for support. One of the things that you spoke about at the end there was the relationship between the parents and the children, and how we want to encourage conversations and start engaging in a healthy way, and not just in what we typically understand as a sort of parental control way. So we're going to go across now to our other panelist, Rochelle. Rochelle joins us as she's the founder, as I said, of FYI Play It Safe. And Rochelle, won't you share with us a little bit of your experience and what you guys are doing to support parents?
Thanks, Mark. Yeah, perfect. I must say I absolutely love what Lorinda said, and I want to emphasize it's definitely not all bad. But you're in charge of the decision, and you're in charge of what you post, you're in charge of what you comment on, you're in charge of what you like. What struck me was when she spoke about online gaming, and I want to share with you a story that a parent wrote to me. Maybe, Mark, while I do that, don't you just want to activate the second poll just to get an idea of the devices that children use that we've got here? But when we think about online gaming, we think about children sitting in a dark corner, and they go into chat rooms and things like that. But we typically think about a very specific type of child. But what this parent told me was that her child started getting, and it was a girl of about 12 years of age, started getting WhatsApp messages, and WhatsApp messages from a guy who, if she looks at the picture, looks like he's in his early 20s, I would say, and knew what her name was, knew what school she went to, and obviously after her motherly investigation, she got to the bottom of what actually happened. So at the age of 12, her and her daughter started playing online Scrabble. And it was really just herself and her daughter playing this innocent game, her thinking that that obviously, it's going to help to get her vocabulary better. But what transpired was that the daughter matched with a stranger in playing Scrabble. The stranger started chatting to her in the online chat, and obviously got to a point where she gave a lot of her personal information out. He knew where she went to school, and you can see how that can transpire into something that's actually really, really dangerous. So thanks. I don't know, Mark, if everyone has voted, you're welcome to take that off. Let's see. So we have the majority on Android type devices and about 20% on Apple. Great stuff. So when we started FYI Play It Safe, we realized that there were two forces in play. And sorry, I just want to quickly share my screen. Give me a moment. We realized that there were two forces in play. On the one end, there's the need for us parents to protect our children in this digital world. And this digital world is nothing like, it's actually, we think we understand it, but it's not something that we can really relate to if we think back to when we were children. And the second one then, to have to respect your child's privacy. Now, this is a very difficult balance if you think about the two. Now, keeping our children safer online, and Mark alluded to it, starts with the relationship we have with them. So it starts with the relationship that starts with trust. And now, although our children know that we want to keep them safe, they don't like us going through the contents of their mobile devices. It makes them feel like we don't trust them. But at the same time, they need, and they actually want to feel that you've got their back if something bad had to happen. We need to make sure that if something does go wrong, and it's typically a matter of time in this online world, that they come to us first. It doesn't matter how big or how small the problem is, but that they come to us first. Now, I'm the parent of a 15-year-old daughter, so I've been doing this for a couple of years now with her online journey, and it's part of why I founded FYI Play It Safe. And I wanted to share a short story about her as well, where I promise you it's a very innocent story, and I'm not exposing her at all. But about 3 years ago, she was in a WhatsApp conversation with a group of children, and this WhatsApp group went south quite quickly. So what she didn't know at the time was that it was a prank, but the situation became quite scary and very quickly quite scary. So as the prank unfolded, she withdrew. She became a bit more hesitant to participate, but children are curious and they want to participate in conversation. But after a while, she then replied with one comment. Immediately realized that this was an issue. And then, as Arinda said, realized that she's part of this WhatsApp group. I mean, this is what her mom is doing, right? And realized that she's now an accomplice to this crime. That is the prank that they played on her. Me reading through the messages, obviously could see right from the start that it was her being gullible, but it ended up with me phoning one of the boys in the group, and I can share that he will never do something like that again. In the moment, we don't think, we don't think it's funny, and afterwards we laugh about it. But if I reflect back, I now realize that that's exactly what we want. That's exactly what we want their reaction or their response to be. So regardless of what the situation is about, we want them to come to us. We have to be involved in their digital lives. Our children are growing up in a completely different time, and we have a choice. We can either reprimand them every time we see them online, and we can tell them that they're spending too much time online, or we can choose to engage, and we can ask them about their online experiences, what games they're playing, who they're meeting. And obviously there's a balance. I'm not saying that being online all the time is right, but there is definitely a balance. So I want to ask you a question, just being part of your child's digital life. And Mark, if you can activate the poll, when you give your child a device, and that's a mobile device, how do you set that device up? And you can choose multiple of these ones. So do you set up screen time or a similar monitoring app? Do you set up parental controls for age restrictions and for content filtering? Do you regularly, read through their messages and browse their history to see what they actually, what they're actually doing online? Or are you a parent that's got spyware installed on their devices where you actually want complete access? You actually want to see every single picture they take, every single message they send? Or is it none of the above? You actually have the conversation and you trust your child, and you don't set up the device. So I'll give you another 10 seconds for that. Okay, Mark, I think you can give us the answers. Okay, so that's fantastic to see that a lot of you have got parental controls with age restrictions, with screen time, and you read through their messages, which is really comforting. I am interested to see which spyware one person is using. And 25% of you who's got nothing of that on the devices. And I'm trusting that you've had the conversation with your child and that they understand the risks. So we have to realize that online safety it's a holistic concept. It's an ecosystem where everyone is playing their role, and they're playing a very important role to ensure our children are safe or safer, because in the online world, you can never say that my child is completely safe. So as Mark said, I always use the example of giving your child a bicycle or a skateboard or roller skates, and that you need to make sure that you have everything covered. You have all the gears and everything that'll keep him safe. So whether that's, you started them off with training wheels, or you gave them a helmet, or some of those kids with helmets, knee guards, elbow guards, complete set, and they still have training wheels on. But we want to make sure that, one, they're safe, but also two, that they have a good experience, because you want them to be riding their bicycles. So the online world is very similar. If we look at the various elements that can contribute to this, then on the left-hand side, and probably some of the more important aspects, is one, parents, and the way you talk to your children, the way you educate your children, the trust relationship we spoke about. There's obviously the schooling system, and whatever school you choose your children to attend. We're still in a physical school, but school system also plays a big role. Some schools now don't allow mobile devices anymore. Some schools allow mobile devices, but with very specific restrictions. And hopefully if your child does attend one of these schools where they do allow mobile devices, there's at least a policy, as Arinda mentioned. Then we have cyber safety or cyber wellness experts. And then obviously at the bottom, we have, sorry, I see my screen's just moved. At the bottom, we have people like Arinda, who specializes in ICT law. Then if we look at some of the software and probably some of the more practical things that can help us, we have software that you can install on your router. And I don't know how many of you use that, But that will also, it will shut down your internet at home. It can also assist you with parental controls to make sure that things like pornography doesn't get through the router. We also have apps that can control screen time limits, apps that can control your content filtering, age restrictions, to make sure that your children can only see what is appropriate to their age. And the good news is a lot of these apps are free. So I use Google Family Link on my daughter's phone. It works like a charm. It's absolutely free. You don't have to pay for those type of applications. So the one thing we have to realize is we can have all of this done, but the main concern, and I'm saying this tongue in cheek, is also that we have to realize that our teenagers are smart. You know, our teenagers are really smart. If they want to get through a loophole, they will. So as an example, TikTok is one of the big no's in our house. We do not do TikTok, and I will never allow TikTok on my daughter's phone. But do you know that even TikTok is not installed on a phone? You can still watch the videos if someone sends you a link. So the app is blocked, but if someone sends her a direct link to a video, she can still watch it, because that goes through the age restrictions, the parental controls, everything. She allowed that, which is quite scary. And there are many, as I said, there are many loopholes. And that's the reason why we developed FYI Play It Safe. So FYI Play It Safe, as Mark said, it's a downloadable app, not a parental control app, but it is designed as a complementary layer of added security. So once your child did manage to get through the loopholes, you know, FYI really addition to that, is it monitors the actual content of the child's communication and all his online activities, and it then informs the parents of any potential harmful situations, regardless of the application the child uses. So it sends parents alerts of any potential harmful events, and these events include when they're exposed to signs of cyberbullying. So that's either when they're the bully or when they're being cyberbullied, because we analyze text. We send alerts of indications of depression, self-harm, suicide, or when they engage in adult content. And as Arinda said, things like pornography, things like sexting, that gets picked up. We've also recently just expanded our data sets that pick up any drug use and obviously abuse. In turn, it benefits children by giving them the privacy of their mobile device, because what we do is, you know, we analyze what's on the child's device, and literally by looking at the activity that happens on the screen, which means that their parents don't have to browse through their social media content. They don't have to read through each and every one of their messages. So maybe Mark, if you can put the next poll up that says, do you know what your child uses these specific apps for? So, and that is Omegle, AnonyChat, and you'll see why I've got these on YikYak, Discord, Ask.fm, or if you have no clue, then you can just select the last one. Giving you about 10 seconds. Okay, Mark, I think you can put the results on. Oh, okay. So at least someone knows what Discord is, which is great. That is it's an application where kids talk to each other, and specifically about online gaming, although they use it for other things as well. And the majority of people don't know what these apps are. Fear not. I mean, just because I'm in this industry, do I know what a lot of them are? But we'll cover that in a bit. So making it practical, what does FYI Play It Safe actually do? So this is a screenshot of a parent dashboard. So what you do is you install the app on your child's device, and this is what you will see on your device when you either install the Android app or when you go through iPhone on the web browser. So you'll see that you've got your children listed, and it'll give you an idea of when there's activity that you need to be aware of. So if you then go to Kate's 25 alerts that she's got on here, you'll see an actual screenshot of what was going on the child's device. Now, Mark asked me to stand still on this one a bit. So this is that one app that I asked you, AnonyChat. AnonyChat's very dangerous. It is one of the apps that our teenagers use quite often. It is very topical. That and Omegle does exactly the same thing. And it allows you to match with a random stranger online and to have a conversation. Now, when we, just before we went live with FYI Play It Safe, I was obviously engaging in all these apps because I wanted to test what our app will pick up, and we needed to fine tune some of the data sets. Now, I went onto AnonyChat, and this is an actual conversation that we had. Because my daughter was 14 at the time, I always impersonated a 14-year-old girl sitting in class and having a conversation. Now, what I found was that all these anonymous chat apps, AnonyChat, Omegle, all of them, it literally takes 2 to 3 messages before you fall into full-blown sexual content, and it's nasty sexual content. It's sexual content together with, do you have SnapScan? Can we jump to SnapScan? Can we video call? You know, it's really explicit type of content. So this is one of the apps. There are 2 types of apps in FYI Play It Safe that we distinguish. So we monitor all apps. There are apps that we classify as priority apps, where we monitor more closely and more frequently, and that's the typical social media apps. It's Google searches, it's WhatsApp, it's all of those. But then there are other apps like AnonyChat that we regard as, call it a blacklisted app. So it's something that we regard as even more dangerous than any of the other apps. And we will tell you when your child is using that app regardless of the content. So if your child's using AnonyChat to talk about their, whatever they do, their arts and crafts, although the conversation will be above board, we believe that children shouldn't be using these apps because they're so dangerous. So hence we will send you a screenshot of that app as well if it's blacklisted. Then if we go back and you go to the dashboard of FYI Play It Safe, you can see Kate's online activity, the time she was online, number of apps she used, the number of alerts, and you can also get an idea of when she was online. You know, less than 5 minutes, 5 to 20 minutes, and more than 20 minutes. So here you'll get a good idea if they have the ability to bypass your router or your screen time settings or whatever the case may be. So you can see what they spend their time on and when. You can also see the apps that they use. Obviously, apps get launched every single day. There are changes to apps every single day. So as we pick up new apps, the list will obviously expand. But everything that we monitor that we just don't have a little logo for, we'll throw under unknown, but you will still get the same type of screenshot for those apps. So you'll know what they're using. And then the last screenshot I want to show you is that it's all the alerts by category in one place. So you can see that your child, you know, you had 5 alerts for bullying, you had 2 for adult content, 4 for profanity. By the way, that's the one that the teenagers complain the most about, is the one for profanity. But regardless, we do think it's important that that it's there. So I want to close off by saying, no, it isn't an option for us as parents to take away our children's mobile devices anymore, not in today's day and age. If they're going to get exposed to online content, they'll either get exposed in your home or when they go and visit friends or friends at school in break times. So you need to make sure that they tap into the good of online experience, because the careers they will do, will look much different from the careers we have. And we have to enable them to do that. But we have to make sure that their online interactions are happy and that their online interactions are as safe as it can be. And if it's not safe, we need to make sure that we have the right level of information that we can get involved at the right time. So we've got one subscription up to give away for anyone who's attended this webinar. And you stand a chance to win a 1 year for the family package. Here's how to do that. So signing up with FYI Play It Safe, installing the apps, getting going it takes less than 10 minutes. So go to www.fyiplayitsafe.com, sign up for our newsletter. That's obviously not compulsory. Create an account with your name. You'll see you only need your name, your email address, and you choose a password. If you use the code Koa Academy, you'll get an immediate 20% discount to the use of FYI Play It Safe, but you'll also go into the prize draw for the 1 year subscription. Download and install the FYI Play It Safe app from our website. It's all available on there. Open the app, bind the two devices together, and you're good to go. So it really is as easy. So yeah, please join us. And thank you. Thanks for listening. And again, Mark, thanks so much for the opportunity to talk to everyone on the webinar.
Absolutely, Rochelle. Thank you so much. Appreciate you being here and sharing your wisdom with us, but also what you guys are doing is just so on the cutting edge of what's happening in that space. And I think what I'm excited about most when I hear you share is the language that you use around empowering parents and encouraging conversations between parents and their children. I think you nailed it when you said this is not the type of thing that we can fully understand all of the dangers and risks in one neat package. There's no one solution for all things on the internet, but to be able to have a tool which covers everything that's happening on my child's device, that opens up conversations and brings awareness, is a really powerful tool. So I just want to say thank you to what you guys are doing at FYI Play It Safe. We're big fans, not just because of the 20% discount that Koa Academy families get with you through our partnership, but we're really looking forward to what you guys are bringing out there. So thank you very much. Well, everybody, this is a great opportunity for you to type 1 or 2 questions that you might have in the Q&A, not the chat. So you'll see that there is a chat feature there, but don't click on the chat. Click on the Q&A, and that's a good time for you to throw out some questions that you might have for any of us. I just want to wrap up while we're doing that, while the questions are coming in, just want to wrap up by saying, firstly, thank you again for joining us. And feel free to reach out to any of us that have shared today. From Koa Academy's side, we are really excited about what's happening in the online space. We are pressing into this. We are wanting to equip and prepare our kids for a future world of work in the online space. And so we are very thoughtfully and very mindfully setting up an online schooling experience that not only keeps your kids safe in the online space, but equips them, prepares them to be responsible online participants in a future world that their work most likely is going to touch in the online space somehow. Also want to say, go over to fyiplayitsafe.com. Make sure that you do sign up for that newsletter. Rochelle is very kind by saying it's not compulsory, but do sign up for that. They have excellent pieces coming out all the time. So make sure that you get on their newsletter to find out what they're bringing out next. And sign up for FYI Play It Safe's demo, trial it out. And you know what? See if it fits for your family. See if it's a good tool for your family. Try it, and if it's a good fit, that's great. Yeah, make use of that 20% discount. And know that Arinda and people like DML are out there, and you can reach out to them if you feel like you need that extra support. If you feel like you're drowning and you're in a situation where you feel like you don't know the way out of this and you don't know which way to turn, Arinda's there, and you can get in touch with them through their website. You can find them on Instagram. I know that DML's on Instagram as well. So you can find them there and reach out to them. They'd love to support you and point you in the right direction as parents. All right, let's have a look at some of these questions, shall we, before we close off? I see that Arinda is ready to answer a comment from an anonymous attendee. Says they open their own Gmail accounts when you're not around. This is so true. Arinda, what can you say about this?
It's very true. I just wanted to make a comment on top of that, and this links with what Rochelle said. They are so smart. We've had examples where things happen and the school shares these screenshots with the parents, and the parents have no idea where it's coming from, but it's an Instagram account that the child has. And then we find out I have a separate Instagram account where the parents don't follow them, and it's in a calculator app or a vault app that the parents can't access with a password. So it's true. They are really, really sneaky actually sometimes. So very interesting to see that they even open their own Gmail accounts, but they definitely have separate Instagram and TikTok accounts, Snapchat accounts that they use that are tracking.
Absolutely. I think this is another case of kids being very smart in finding routes to a solution, even where we feel like we've put a roadblock. There are often ways to circumnavigate that. And I think that's particularly where a layer of protection like FYI Play It Safe is helpful. Speaking of that, Rochelle, there are a bunch of questions here about FYI Play It Safe and how it works. Do you want to just work through those?
Yeah, I will. So I also want to say on the they open their own Gmail account. The one advantage that we have, because of the technology FYI Play It Safe uses, is you don't need their email addresses, you don't need their social media accounts or their passwords. So it literally, if they create a new one, we're there already. If they use a different app, we're there already. So it's based on the technology we use. So we're one step ahead. So just to look at some of the questions. So on the, unfortunately, if I can go to Gareth to, I think that was, no, sorry, it's Cameron. Your question, it works on Android devices for children at the moment, regardless of what the device for the parent is. So we're not on Apple yet for children, but we are on Apple devices for parents. So if I look at on the Apple device for the parent, I will send a link out. I'll send a quick start guide after this, and I'll send a link to where you can find that. It needs to be downloaded on each of the child devices, because the way it works is it literally takes a screenshot of the device. So it needs to be on the child's device to be able to monitor. And it doesn't run on their, as I said, on their email addresses at all. And then you link each one of those devices, you link to the parent app. So hence that, your dashboard could say it's a tablet or a mobile phone or whatever the case may be. Unfortunately, we're not on PC yet, but that is definitely something that we're looking at is running on Microsoft PCs for the beginning. But I agree, Microsoft family also important for PC. You do need to make sure that although they're smart, at least give them some knee guards, give them the elbow protectors, and give them a helmet. That's FYI Play It Safe.
Great, Rochelle. And then just to follow up with, I see Gareth talking about Microsoft Family being a great tool. Having conversations with some of the parents already at Koa Academy, I've really been amazed at, like you say, how many good layers of protection or support there are for parents, which are either very cheap or free, and more becoming available all the time. And a lot of our parents at Koa Academy are becoming real experts in this themselves. And I just really want to encourage parents, have conversations with each other. This is the type of thing that we're all in a very similar boat when it comes to wanting to keep our kids safe in the online space, wanting to equip them well, but feeling on the back foot a lot of the time. And so we might have a little gem, a little nuggets that we're holding on to, and somebody else has another piece of the puzzle. And actually having these conversations with each other regularly means we get to share our knowledge with others and learn from them as well. So be sure that you're reaching out to other parents and having these conversations, and you'll find that there are actually there's a lot that we can learn from each other through these conversations. So just another comment here. Shamalani says, currently in a traditional school, diagnosed with ADM and looking for another schooling solution. Again, at Koa, we're having conversations like this all the time with parents who are looking for good schooling solutions for their particular situation. And like I said at the start of the webinar, we're really excited that there are more options for parents than there ever have been before when it comes to how we educate our children. I think the challenge for us is figuring out what the options are and which one's going to be best for our family. So just to say, if there are people on the call who'd like to engage with the conversation around what type of schooling is going to be best for my child, please won't you reach out to us, go onto the koaacademy.com website and fill out that contact us web form at the end of the website, or hit the WhatsApp us button. We would love to engage with you in a conversation around your particular situation. Our passion is finding out what's going to be best for your child. We don't think that there's a one size fits all solution when it comes to learning. We do think Koa is a pretty good solution for most families, but we don't assume that it's the best solution for every family, but we'd love to try and figure out what would be best for you. So please do reach out to us. Okay, it looks like we've covered all of the questions. So just to say once again to our panelists, thank you so much. Rochelle, thank you for your time. Arinda, thanks for being with us and for sharing with us. Okay, and everybody who's attended, thank you so much for being here. We'll make this recording available. Feel free to share it with others who you think might benefit from it, and keep the conversation going. Reach out to us on social media, send us an email. We'd love to hear more about what you guys are experiencing as parents. All right, everybody, stay safe. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.